Hey, this Judge Wade's bringing you some Black Ops 2 action, playing some Kill Confirmed on this first map, and then I've got a little clip of some domination. Both of these games, though, I will be using the MSMC. Once again, I am not going to be uploading any Peacekeeper action all this week. But I don't really want to talk about this gameplay or anything like that. Instead, I wanted to address the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Here recently, I've had quite a few of my friends, people that I respect, challenge me with doing this thing. And I tell you what, I have really enjoyed watching you guys get soaked, getting that bone-chilling water put on you. One person that I watched actually used something like clam juice. So I've really enjoyed watching these things. But I just can't participate in this challenge, and like I said, I want to explain why, because I don't think it's fair to just say, you know, I'm not going to do it or just not do it without giving you a reason why. So that's my point of this video. And let me say this, you know, it's not about me not caring or not thinking it deserves attention or anything like that, because ALS, or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's disease, it is a horrible neurodegenerative disease that just totally destroys people. And I would love to see, you know, it stamped out, and I would love to see a cure. So, you know, why do I not support the ALS bucket challenge, ice bucket challenge? You know, my issue is with not the fighting of it, but with ALSA, or the ALS Association, which actually came up with this ice bucket challenge. And first of all, it is a brilliant challenge. You know, they have done a great job, but it's all in regards to the research that they support, or that they might support in the future. Now, the ALS Association funds different types of research. That's how they fight this. Somebody will submit a grant application, and then they will decide whether or not they're going to fund it or not. Now, among the research that they support is this type of research using embryonic stem cells. For those of you who don't know what this is when scientists take a female egg and a male sperm, and they fertilize the egg in the lab. And then after that new life begins to form, they remove the embryonic stem cells, kind of harvest those, which ends up killing the embryo that was started. This is the same process that you see with in vitro fertilization when a couple can't have a kid. They'll do this and then implant those eggs, those fertilized eggs, into a mother. So this is the same thing. The other way that they do this, and actually a grant that ALS gave somebody for $500,000, involved too them taking the stem cells from a baby that was in its mother's womb that was 8 weeks old, and then they, you know, took the stem cells from the spinal cord, and then they ended up aborting the baby. So, you know, this happens also with abortions. Now, for me, I just can't be a part of that. I believe that life happens, or life is started at the moment of conception, and I'm not a big proponent of abortion either. You know, I am very pro-life. So for me, you know, seeing the ALS support these things just goes against what I am for. In fact, if you read the ALS website, it says this: adult stem cell research is important, which I totally support adult stem cell research, but it says and should be done along embryonic stem cell research, as both will provide valuable insights. Only through exploration of all types of stem cell research will scientists find the most efficient and effective way to treat diseases. So this is what I cannot support. You know, I don't want to see my money going to this. I don't want to see, you know, my videos encouraging people to support this particular organization. Do I, like I said, do I want to see ALS stamped out? Yes, I do. I just can't support this company, the ALS Association. I probably missaid it and just called it ALS, but I'm talking about the ALS Association. Well, what can you do if you want to see this disease fought, and you're like me and you have an issue with some of the research that might happen with the ALS Association? Well, there are other charities that don't use embryonic stem cells as part of their research. The Mayo Clinic, I'm sure you've heard of that, and also John Paul II Medical Research Institute. Both of these don't. So I want to encourage you, if you want to give some money and you have an issue with embryonic stem cell research, you know, give towards one of these. And if you want to do the Ice Bucket Challenge, maybe encourage people to give towards one of these two charities instead of the ALSA. And like I said, you know, I know not everybody agrees with me, but if you do, you know, this is an alternative that you could use. And I also want to say this: if you have given money towards the ALS Association and you do not agree with embryonic stem cell, I want to encourage you to call them up and ask that your money be designated to not go towards this type of funding. They will honor that designation. So hats off to the ALS Association for that. Now, out of respect to the people that have challenged me with this Ice Bucket Challenge, you know, like I said, I really can't go ahead with this. but I will be donating some money to fight this horrible disease. You know, like I said, there are people that are dying, and this disease needs to be stopped. We need to stamp it out. So I don't want to just sit idly by and let this happen. So I am going to donate some money to one of the 2 charities that I did tell you about. But that's how I feel. Let me know if that makes sense to you. Hopefully I don't come across as being too callous to people suffering or anything like that. Like I said, you know, I will support fighting this, but I just cannot, conscience-wise, get away from this. But I think I am right here, like 2 away from dogs, and you got to see this final kill cam that takes me out. But guys, as always, take care and God bless.